we are going to rewrite equations in slope-intercept form and then identify the slope and y-intercepts of that equation. We are going to change it from standard form, which are what they're in now, and put them into slope-intercept form. So let's begin. The first problem, 4x plus 5y equals 13. Now we're going to solve for x, and we're going to solve for y because slope-intercept form is written in y equals form. So the y is going to stay the same. The term that is furthest from the y is the 4x. So that's where we will begin removing things from this side of the equation, from the left side of the equation. This 4x here is positive, so we're going to subtract it or make it negative. If you combine these terms here, the positive 4x with the negative 4x, you will get 0. And since we're in algebra, we're not going to write 0 underneath. Everything else will stay the same. I want you to make a note that this 13 is positive, so it's positive here. This 4 is negative, so it's negative here. This cannot be combined since the 13 does not have an x. They are not like terms. Now we're going to divide by this positive 5. I left the plus sign there just so you would know that this sign travels with this term. The mistake many people make is assuming that the term travels with, the sign travels with the term in front of it, when the sign actually travels with the term behind it. Five divided by 5 is 1, and 1 times y is y. So we just leave y by itself. It has divided out. Negative 4 over 5 cannot be reduced. The x is not on top with the 4. It is next to the term or the fraction or the ratio, negative 4 over 5. Now we can identify the slope. Understanding slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The m is your slope, and the b is your y-intercept. The x and y are your coordinates, your x coordinate and your y coordinate. In this case, your slope is negative 4 over 5, which is defined as moving down 4 and right 5 on a graph. So this movement has a negative correlation because the 4 is negative, or because the fraction is negative. Your y-intercept is 13 over 5, which can also be written as 2 3/5. And yes, fractions can be a part of graphing. Our next equation, 2x plus 5y equals 10. Again, we're isolating y, or highlighting y, solving for y, putting in slope-intercept form, which are all equivalent phrases. You're going to do the additive inverse, which would be negative 2x with the 2x, which causes that to move. Now you're dividing by 5, which is the multiplicative inverse. Y is equal to negative 2 over 5x plus 2. Again, speaking in slope-intercept form, your slope or steepness of the line is a negative correlation. That is negative 2 over 5, and your y-intercept is 2. Our next equation has a fraction. Fractions are real numbers, so they can be a part of any linear equation. They behave just the same when you are removing it from one side of the equation. Now dividing by 5. Now we need to take a little bit of a bird walk because it does have special properties, this fraction. This is negative 1/2. If we're dividing by 5, we would have to change the form in which it is in to change it to 1/2, same change, and then flip this whole number and make it a 1/5 fraction. Negative 1 times a positive 1 is negative 1. 2 times 5 is 10. So as we rewrite this equation, we will have y equals, because the 5's are gone, negative 1/10 x plus 9 over 5. Again, in slope-intercept form, identifying your slope and y-intercept. Our slope is negative 1/10, which means this again is a negative correlation. Your b is, or y-intercept, which is where the line crosses the y-axis, is at 9/5, or 1 4/5. Now we have an equation that isn't as simple with a 1 in the numerator. And our y term also has a fraction. Again, we are going to subtract this x term from both sides, leaving us with 4/5 y equaling negative 2/3 x plus 13. Now, when moving this fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. And that is everything. Multiply everything by the reciprocal. The difference in the last problem and this problem is we're not just adding, we're not using this, the adding, addition, or subtraction of of fractions. We're multiplying and dividing them. So that means there's different properties with those. That is 1. This becomes negative 10 over 12x plus that's 65 over 4. Which means y equals negative 5 over 6x plus (16 1/4). Our slope is negative 5 over 6, which is another negative correlation, and our y-intercept is 16 1/4. Now we have an equation that doesn't have a coefficient in front of it. Well, it doesn't seem to have a coefficient in front of it. Understand that when you do not see a number in front of the x, it is understood in algebra that there is a 1. So we're going to subtract x from both sides of this equation. Now, you can put the 1 here in front of the x if you like, if it makes you more comfortable. If not, you can always welcome not to. Dividing by negative 5, y becomes 1/5, a positive 1/5. A negative with a negative is positive. Once again, there's a 1 here, and the x does not belong in the numerator. The x belongs next to or being multiplied by the fraction. Positive and a negative becomes negative. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Our slope is a positive correlation this time, and it's 1/5, which is not very steep. And our y-intercept is negative 2. Last problem. We're going to add to x and then divide by 5. Your slope is 2/5, and your y-intercept is 1 1/5. Congratulations.